Hello guys, how are you all? Welcome back to my channel. So, today we are gonna see, what if Naruto got pregnant red female Kurama? And subscribe if you enjoy the video. And also check the description. So let's begin the story. The autumn wind swept through Konoha, carrying with it the scent of change that Naruto Uzumaki couldn't quite place. Standing atop the Hokage monument, he gazed across the village he'd sworn to protect, unaware that his world was about to shift in ways he never imagined. It started 3 days ago with the dreams, not the usual nightmares of his childhood loneliness or the haunting memories of war. These were different. In them, he stood within his mindscape, before the massive cage that had once imprisoned the nine-tailed fox. But the cage was gone, replaced by a vast, open space filled with warm golden light. And Kurama was different. Naruto shook his head, trying to clear the confusion. For years, he and the Nine-Tails had been partners, bound by mutual respect earned through countless battles and shared suffering. Their relationship had evolved from hatred to grudging cooperation to genuine friendship. But something fundamental had changed in the seal, and he couldn't understand what. Naruto! Sakura's voice cut through his thoughts. She landed gracefully beside him, her medical neon robes fluttering in the breeze. There you are. Lady Tsunade wants to see you immediately. What's wrong? Naruto asked, noting the concern in his teammate's eyes. Your chakra, Sakura said carefully. It's been fluctuating for the past 72 hours. The sensory division detected it, and they're worried about the seal's stability. Naruto's hand instinctively moved to his stomach, where the seal that bound him to Kurama resided. I've been feeling strange, he admitted. Different. But I don't think it's dangerous. That's not for you to determine alone, Sakura interrupted, her tone brooking no argument. Come on. Kakashi-sensei is already at the Hokage's office. The Hokage's office was crowded when they arrived. Tsunade sat behind her desk, her expression grave. Kakashi leaned against the wall, his visible eye serious despite his relaxed posture. Shikamaru stood near the window, arms crossed, and several members of the Sealing Corps were present, their faces etched with concern. Naruto, Tsunade began without preamble. Sit down. We need to discuss what's happening with your seal. Naruto settled into a chair, feeling the weight of everyone's stares. I know my chakra's been weird, but I feel fine. Better than fine, actually. Kurama and I. That's precisely what concerns us, interrupted one of the sealing experts, a stern woman named Uzumaki. A distant relative Naruto had only recently discovered. The Nine-Tails chakra signature has altered dramatically. We've never seen anything like this in all recorded history of Jinchuriki. What do you mean altered? Naruto asked, tension creeping into his voice. I unfurled a scroll covered in complex sealing formulas. 3 days ago, the chakra emanating from your seal began to shift. The Nine-Tails signature, which has remained constant for centuries, suddenly changed. It's still unmistakably the Nine-Tails, but there's a feminization of the chakra pattern. The room fell silent. Naruto felt his heart race. Feminization? What does that even mean? It means, Tsunade said slowly, that Kurama appears to have taken a female form. The question is why, and what it means for the seal's integrity. And for you. Naruto's mind reeled. The dream suddenly made sense. The changed appearance he'd glimpsed in his mindscape, the different energy he'd felt. I need to talk to Kurama, he said, standing abruptly. Wait, Kakashi began, but Naruto was already forming the hand signs for meditation. I'll be fine, sensei. Trust me. The mindscape materialized around him, a vast sewer system transformed over the years into something more comfortable, more like a shared space than a prison. But as Naruto walked the familiar corridors, he noticed changes everywhere. The harsh metal and dripping water had given way to smoother stone and gentle streams, and the light, where once there had been dim, oppressive shadows, now warm illumination filled the space. He found Kurama in the central chamber, and his breath caught. Where once a massive fox with bared fangs had prowled behind bars, now reclined a figure that was unmistakably Kurama yet completely transformed. She, and it was definitely she now, retained the 9 tails and the fierce red chakra that had always defined her. Her fox-like features remained, the pointed ears, the elongated snout, the powerful form. But the overall shape had shifted to something distinctly feminine while maintaining that primal, powerful essence. "You finally noticed," Kurama said, her voice carrying the same deep resonance but with softer undertones. "I wondered how long it would take you, Kit." "Kurama, what happened? Why did you change?" The great fox, Vixen now, Naruto supposed, settled onto her haunches, all 9 tails swaying gently behind her. "I didn't change, fool. I've always been this way. What changed was the seal, your seal, and our bond." "I don't understand." Kurama sighed, a sound like distant thunder. "Sit down, Naruto. This requires explanation, and you humans are so dreadfully slow at comprehending things beyond your limited experience." Despite the insult, Naruto heard affection in her tone. He sat cross-legged before her, waiting. "Tailed beasts are chakra-given form," Kurama began. "We are not bound by the same rules as biological creatures. Gender, as you understand it, is fluid for us. We can be male, female, both, or either, depending on various factors." "Then why change now?" "Because of you, idiot." Kurama's eyes, still those fierce red eyes he knew so well, softened slightly. "Our bond has deepened beyond anything I've experienced in my long existence. When the Sage of Six Paths created us, he envisioned us partnering with humanity, not being imprisoned and weaponized. But that partnership requires balance, harmony." She shifted, and Naruto noticed the chains that had once bound her were completely gone. "As our synchronization increased, as we truly became partners rather than prisoner and jailer, the seal evolved. It's no longer a cage, Naruto. It's a covenant. And with that change, I've manifested in the form that best represents our balanced partnership." "But why female specifically?" Kurama's tails lashed with what might have been embarrassment. "Because, you dense child, the feminine aspect represents creation, nurturing, and life force in many traditions, including those of the Uzumaki clan who created your seal. Our bond isn't just about destruction and power anymore. It's about protection, growth, and partnership." The seal recognized this and adjusted accordingly. Naruto processed this, his mind working through the implications. "So you're saying this is normal? That the seal is actually stronger now?" "Normal? Hardly. This hasn't happened in recorded history because no Jinchuriki has ever achieved the level of synchronization you and I have. As for the seal..." Kurama paused, and for the first time, Naruto detected uncertainty in her voice. "That's where things become complicated." "Complicated how?" "The seal is evolving beyond its original parameters. Your Uzumaki heritage, combined with the Sage of Six Paths chakra you possess, and our perfect synchronization, it's created something unprecedented. The seal is no longer just containing me. It's integrating us on a level I don't fully understand yet." A chill ran down Naruto's spine. "Is that dangerous?" "Unknown. Possibly. Probably not, but I can't be certain." Kurama leaned closer, her massive form somehow less intimidating than it had ever been. "What I do know is this: we're bound together more completely than any Jinchuriki and tailed beast before us. Your chakra and mine are becoming increasingly intertwined. And with my current manifestation..." She trailed off, seeming uncertain for the first time in Naruto's memory. "What?" Naruto pressed. "What aren't you telling me?" Kurama's 9 tails wrapped around herself in what looked almost like a protective gesture. "There are ancient texts, older than even the formation of the hidden villages, that speak of what happens when a tailed beast and human achieve perfect synchronization. The sage studied this possibility extensively. But the knowledge was deliberately suppressed because of the potential implications." "Kurama, you're scaring me." "Good. You should be scared. We both should be." She met his eyes directly. "Perfect synchronization doesn't just mean we share chakra, Naruto. It means we share existence on a fundamental level. What happens to one happens to both. What one feels, the other feels. And in cases where the tailed beast takes a female form and the Jinchuriki is male..." Understanding dawned on Naruto like a cold wave. "No. That's not possible." "I don't know if it's possible," Kurama admitted. "No one does. It's never happened before. But the seal's evolution, my transformation, the way our chakras are merging, all the ancient texts point to one potential outcome." "We need to tell the others," Naruto said, standing abruptly. Tsunade, the sealing experts, they need to know about this. Wait. Kurama's voice stopped him. Before you do, understand what you're revealing. If the other villagers learn that a Jinchuriki and tailed beast can merge to this degree, it will upset the balance of power. Some will see it as a threat. Others will try to replicate it. And if they learn about the other possibility, they'll either try to weaponize it or kill me to prevent it, Naruto finished grimly. Exactly. Naruto ran his hands through his hair, frustration mounting. So what do? We can't just hide this. The sensory division already knows something's changed. We tell them the truth, partially. We explain that the seal evolved due to our perfect synchronization. We reveal my changed form, but we say nothing about the deeper implications until we understand them better ourselves. Kurama stood, her massive form still awe-inspiring despite the changes. I need time to research the ancient memories of my kind, to consult with the other tailed beasts if possible. And you need time to strengthen your body and chakra network for whatever comes next. And if something happens before we're ready? Kurama's expression turned fierce, that familiar determination Naruto had come to rely on. Then we face it together, as we always have. We're partners, Naruto Uzumaki. Completely and utterly. Whatever happens, we deal with it as one. Naruto felt warmth spread through his chest at her words. Together, he agreed. Now go face your Hokage and her questions. And Naruto? Kurama's voice softened again. I know this is strange and frightening. It is for me too. But I trust you. I trust us. We'll figure this out. As Naruto prepared to return to his body, he paused. Kurama? Are you okay with this change? With being female now? The great vixen's laugh echoed through the mindscape. I've existed for over 1,000 years in various forms, Kit. Gender is a minor detail. What matters is the strength of our bond and what we choose to do with it. Now go. Your friends are worried. When Naruto opened his eyes in the Hokage's office, he found every face turned toward him expectantly. He'd been in his mindscape for only minutes in the real world, but it felt like hours had passed. Well? Tsunade demanded. What did the Nine Tails say? Naruto took a deep breath, choosing his words carefully. Kurama says the seal evolved because of our perfect synchronization. The transformation is natural, a response to our bond becoming more balanced. Tailed beasts aren't limited by gender the way humans are. The form changes based on the nature of the partnership. That's actually consistent with some extremely old texts, I.M. said slowly, pulling out another scroll. There are references to the tailed beasts being fluid in form, though most records only show their male manifestations. Is the seal stable? Kakashi asked, cutting to the practical concern. More stable than ever, Naruto confirmed. The cage is completely gone. Kurama is bound by covenant now, not imprisonment. We're true partners. Shikamaru stirred from his position by the window. That's unprecedented. It changes the fundamental relationship between Jinchuriki and tailed beast. The other villages will have strong reactions when they learn of this. Then we control the narrative, Tsunade decided. Naruto, you'll need to undergo a full medical and seal examination. We need comprehensive documentation of these changes. I want your team analyzing every relevant text in our archives. Kakashi, prepare a classified report for our allies. We tell them the basic truth before rumors spread. What about the other Jinchuriki? Naruto asked. Gaara Killer Bee, they should know about this directly from me. Tsunade nodded. Agreed. We'll arrange secure communications. This affects all Jinchuriki, potentially. As the others discussed logistics and protocols, Naruto felt Kurama's presence in the back of his mind, a warm reassurance that hadn't been there before. Their connection had indeed deepened, and he could sense her emotions more clearly now. Her concern, her determination, and underlying it all, her fierce protective instinct toward him. We'll get through this, he thought, directing the message inward. Of course we will, Kid, came Kurama's amused response. We're the most stubborn beings in existence. Reality itself will bend before we do. Despite everything, Naruto smiled. The examination took hours. Medical Nin probed his chakra network, while sealing experts analyzed every aspect of the seal's structure. What they found was both reassuring and deeply unsettling. The seal had fundamentally restructured itself, transforming from the 8-trigram seal his father had created into something new entirely. A matrix that I am identified as similar to ancient Uzumaki bonding seals, used not for imprisonment but for partnership contracts between humans and summoning animals or other entities. This is extraordinary, I am breathed, her hands tracing the seal's pattern on Naruto's stomach. The complexity alone is beyond modern sealing theory. It's as if the seal is alive, constantly adapting to optimize your connection with the Nine Tails. Is that a problem? Naruto asked. Unknown. Theoretically, a living seal should be more stable and responsive than a static one. But it also means we can't predict its behavior with certainty. It could continue evolving. Into what? I met his eyes seriously. That's what we need to determine. I'll need to research extensively. There are references in the most ancient Uzumaki texts to covenant seals that created permanent bonds between partners. But most of those texts were destroyed when Uzumaki fell. We might have copies in the archives, Tsunade interjected. The second Hokage collected everything he could about sealing techniques, including Uzumaki clan records. I'll grant you full access, As the examination concluded and the experts conferred in hushed tones, Sakura pulled Naruto aside. How are you really doing? She asked quietly. This has to be overwhelming. Naruto managed a tired smile. I'm okay, Sakura-chan. Scared, yeah? But Kurama and we trust each other. Whatever happens, we'll handle it. That's not a real answer, Naruto, he sighed. I don't know how I'm doing. Everything's changing so fast. But I can feel Kurama's presence more clearly now, and it's comforting, actually. Like I'm not alone anymore, not even in my own head. Sakura studied him with her medic's analytical gaze. Your chakra levels are elevated, but stable. Heart rate and blood pressure normal. No signs of chakra poisoning or seal degradation. Physically, you're fine. But Naruto, if you start feeling strange, any unusual symptoms, chakra fluctuations, anything, you tell me immediately. Promise? I promise. She squeezed his shoulder affectionately. Good. Now let's get you home. You look exhausted. That night, alone in his apartment, Naruto sat on his bed and consciously opened his mind to Kurama's presence. The connection flowed more easily now, like a door that had been locked suddenly swinging open. Can't sleep? Kurama's voice resonated in his thoughts. Too much to think about. Are you okay? This affects you more than me, really. A rumbling laugh. I'm a 1,000-year-old chakra construct, Kit. I've experienced stranger things. Though I'll admit, this is in the top 10. What are the other 9? That time your father sealed me inside you immediately after your birth, while your mother was dying and I was being controlled by a masked man? That's probably number 1. Meeting the Sage of Six Paths? Top 5. The 4th Shinobi War? Definitely up there. Naruto smiled despite himself. We've been through a lot together, indeed. And we'll go through more. That's the nature of partnership. A pause. Naruto, there's something else you should know. His smile faded. What? I can feel your emotions now. Not just sense them distantly, but feel them as if they were my own. And you can feel mine, if you open yourself to it. Naruto concentrated, reaching out through their connection. And suddenly he was flooded with sensation. Kurama's fierce pride in their partnership, her lingering anger at centuries of imprisonment and mistreatment, her deep concern about the seal's evolution, and underneath it all, something that felt almost like affection. You care about me, he said, awed. Of course I do, you fool. Kurama's mental voice carried embarrassed warmth. You're the first human to ever treat me as an equal. The first to understand that I'm not just a weapon or a monster. You gave me my name back, my dignity, my freedom. How could I not care? Kurama, don't get sentimental on me, Kit. We're still partners first. But yes, I care what happens to you. And that makes this situation more complicated. Why? Because if the seal continues evolving as I suspect it might, our feelings will become even more intertwined. We need to establish boundaries, understand where you end and I begin. Or we risk losing our individual identities. That was a sobering thought. Is that possible? Could we actually merge into one being? I don't know. The ancient texts speak of perfect synchronization as a theoretical ideal, but they never describe what comes after achieving it. We're in uncharted territory. Naruto lay back on his bed, staring at the ceiling. One step at a time, right? We figure things out as we go, like we always have. That's a terrible strategy. It's worked so far. By sheer luck and stubbornness, not planning. Hey, stubbornness is a valid strategy. It's basically my ninja way. Kurama's laughter filled his mind, warm and genuine. Sleep, Kit. Tomorrow we deal with whatever comes. Together. Together, Naruto agreed, and for the first time since the changes began, he felt truly at peace. As he drifted off to sleep, he didn't notice the faint glow of the seal on his stomach, pulsing gently in rhythm with both his heartbeat and the distant thrumming of Kurama's chakra. The Covenant Seal continued its slow evolution, writing a new chapter in the history of Jinchuriki and tailed beasts, one that would change everything. Morning sunlight filtered through Naruto's apartment window, but he'd been awake for hours. Sleep had been elusive, his mind churning with questions about the seal, Kurama's transformation, and what it all meant for his future. The warmth of Kurama's presence in the back of his consciousness had become constant now, comforting yet slightly overwhelming, like learning to breathe underwater. A sharp knock interrupted his thoughts. Naruto! I know you're in there. Sakura's voice carried through the door. Lady Tsunade wants you at the hospital. Now, he opened the door to find not just Sakura, but Kakashi as well, both wearing serious expressions. What's wrong? Naruto asked immediately. Nothing's wrong, Kakashi assured him, though his visible eye remained grave. But the examination last night raised more questions than answers. Tsunade has assembled a team of specialists, sealing experts, medical nin, even a chakra theorist from the academy. They want to do a deeper analysis. How much deeper are we talking? Full mindscape exploration, Sakura said. With your permission, they want to enter your seal and examine the changes directly. It's completely voluntary, but I'll do it, Naruto interrupted. If it helps us understand what's happening, I'm in. Kit, are you certain? Kurama's voice resonated in his mind. Allowing others into the seal means revealing my current form completely. There will be no hiding the extent of the changes. We can't hide forever, Naruto thought back. And these are people we trust. Besides, if something goes wrong with the seal, we need them to understand it well enough to help. A mental sigh. Your optimism will be the death of us both. Very well. But I reserve the right to remove anyone who annoys me. Try not to traumatize the specialists. Okay, no promises. The hospital's secure sealing chamber was deep underground, surrounded by multiple barrier techniques designed to contain any chakra leakage. When Naruto arrived, he found the room crowded with familiar and unfamiliar faces. Tsunade stood at the center, radiating authority. I Am Uzumaki was there with 3 other sealing specialists, their robes marked with complex formula patterns. Shizen prepared medical equipment, while Sakura reviewed charts. And standing somewhat apart from the others was an elderly man Naruto recognized as Professor Kenji, one of the Academy's leading theorists on chakra nature and transformation. Naruto, thank you for coming, Tsunade began. I know this is intrusive, but we need to understand the seal's evolution thoroughly. Professor Kenji has some theories about what might be happening, but we need direct observation to confirm anything. The old professor stepped forward, his sharp eyes studying Naruto with undisguised fascination. Young man, what you're experiencing may be the most significant development in the relationship between humans and tailed beasts since the Sage of Six Paths first distributed them. If my theories are correct, your seal isn't just evolving, it's creating a completely new paradigm for Bijou partnership. What kind of paradigm? Naruto asked warily. That's what we need to determine. The procedure is straightforward. Using a modified version of the Yamanaka mind transfer technique combined with sealing formulas, we can project our consciousness into your mindscape. We'll observe the seal's structure, document Kurama's transformed state, and analyze the chakra flow patterns. How many people are we talking about? Myself, I Am, and Lady Tsunade, Professor Kenji said. 3 observers should be sufficient without overwhelming the space. Naruto glanced at Kakashi, who nodded encouragingly. I'll be monitoring from outside, his former sensei said. If anything goes wrong, we can sever the connection immediately. Alright, Naruto agreed. Let's do this. But fair warning, Kurama's not exactly thrilled about this, so everyone needs to be respectful. She's a partner, not a research subject. I smiled slightly. We understand. The fact that you refer to the Nine Tails as a partner rather than a tool already demonstrates how unique your situation is. The preparation took nearly an hour. Naruto sat in the center of an elaborate seal array while the specialists drew connecting formulas on their own foreheads and palms. Sakura attached monitoring equipment to track his vital signs, and Kakashi positioned himself at the seal's edge, ready to disrupt it if necessary. Remember, Tsunade instructed as she settled into position, we're observers only. Don't touch anything, don't interfere with the seal's structure, and absolutely do not provoke the Nine Tails. Kurama, Naruto corrected quietly. Her name is Kurama. Tsunade's expression softened slightly. Right. Don't provoke Kurama. As the technique activated, Naruto felt the strange sensation of his consciousness expanding to accommodate additional presences. The world dissolved into swirling chakra, and then, they stood in Naruto's mindscape, and the three visitors froze in shock. The transformation was even more dramatic than the sensory data had suggested. What had once been a dark, oppressive sewer system had become something resembling a vast underground temple. Smooth stone walls were carved with flowing water patterns. Soft light emanated from crystalline formations embedded in the ceiling. Gentle streams ran through carefully carved channels, their sound peaceful rather than ominous. Extraordinary, Professor Kenji breathed, immediately pulling out a notebook to sketch what he saw. The mindscape has physically restructured itself. This level of environmental transformation indicates a fundamental shift in the relationship between. He stopped abruptly as they rounded a corner and saw Kurama. The great vixen lay in the central chamber, which had expanded to accommodate her massive form. Her 9 tails swayed lazily behind her as she regarded the newcomers with sharp, intelligent eyes. The red chakra that defined her flickered like flame across her form, but it seemed warmer now, less hostile. So, Kurama said, her voice echoing through the chamber, the Gawkers have arrived. Try not to embarrass yourselves too much, humans. I am recovered first, bowing respectfully. Great Kurama, we're honored by your permission to observe. We mean no disrespect. We seek only to understand and ensure the safety of both you and Naruto. One of Kurama's tails flicked with what might have been approval. At least one of you has manners. Very well, observe what you will. But touch nothing, and keep your theories to yourself until you have something intelligent to say. Naruto suppressed a smile as he joined them. She's in a good mood today. This is a good mood? Tsunade muttered, but she was already studying Kurama with professional interest. The transformation is complete, distinctly feminine characteristics while maintaining the essential Bijou nature. Remarkable. Professor Kenji had moved to examine the seal itself, which manifested in this space as a complex, glowing mandala that seemed to float between Naruto and Kurama. Unlike the harsh, imprisoning bars of the old 8 trigram seal, this structure was fluid and organic, its patterns constantly shifting and adjusting. Incredible, he murmured. It's a living seal, a covenant matrix that responds dynamically to the chakra flow between Jinchuriki and Bijou. See here? He pointed to a section where golden chakra from Naruto intertwined with Kurama's red. The chakras aren't just mixing, they're harmonizing, creating something new while maintaining their individual properties. Ayam joined him, her eyes wide. This matches descriptions from the oldest Uzumaki texts, the ones written before the clan's formation. They called these soul-binding seals, permanent partnerships that transcended the normal contract-or-summon relationship. Soul-binding? Naruto asked, concern creeping into his voice. That sounds ominous. Not ominous, profound, Ayam corrected. These seals were used to create permanent bonds between willing partners. The Uzumaki clan abandoned the practice because it was deemed too dangerous, too intimate. The partners become so connected that, she stopped, her face paling as she examined a particular pattern in the seal. What? Tsunade demanded. What did you find? This subsection here, Ayam pointed with a shaking hand. It's a lifelink matrix. Not just chakra sharing, complete biological synchronization. The chamber fell silent. Explain, Kurama commanded, rising to her full height. In terms we can all understand. Professor Kenji took over, his academic demeanor barely concealing his excitement. A life link means your biological processes are becoming synchronized. Heart rates, chakra production, cellular regeneration, even hormonal cycles. What affects one partner will increasingly affect the other. That's not possible, Tsunade said slowly. Naruto is human. Kurama is a chakra construct. They don't have compatible biology to link. Normally, no, Professor Kenji agreed. But Naruto isn't a normal human. He carries the Sage of Six Paths chakra, Ashura's reincarnation chakra, and Uzumaki clan vitality. His biology is already partially chakra-based. And Kurama, in taking a female form, has manifested biological characteristics that a formless chakra being normally wouldn't possess. Naruto felt his stomach drop. What does that mean practically? The professor's eyes gleamed with scientific fascination that made Naruto distinctly uncomfortable. It means that Kurama's transformation may not be just spiritual or energetic. The seal is facilitating actual biological manifestation. She's becoming real in a physical sense. That's impossible, Kurama growled, but Naruto detected uncertainty in her voice. I'm chakra given form by the sage. I don't have biology. You didn't, Ayam said quietly, pointing to another section of the seal. But look at this pattern. It's a corporeal manifestation matrix. The seal is using Naruto's Uzumaki vitality, and the sage's chakra as a template to give you physical form beyond pure chakra. Why would it do that? Naruto asked, though part of him already suspected the answer. Professor Kenji and Ayam exchanged glances. Tsunade's expression had gone from shock to gravely concerned. Because, the professor said carefully, a perfect covenant seal creates absolute partnership. What one possesses, both must possess. Naruto has a physical body, therefore, the seal is generating the framework for Kurama to have one as well, at least within the context of their bond. Show me, Kurama demanded. Show me this corporeal manifestation matrix. Ayam approached the seal carefully, tracing specific patterns. Here, and these connecting nodes. They're building a template. Using Naruto's DNA and your chakra signature to create a body, Kurama finished, her voice hollow. The seal is creating a biological body for me. Not exactly, Professor Kenji interjected. More accurately, it's creating the potential for biological processes within your chakra form. You would still be primarily chakra-based, but with genuine biological components that mirror Naruto's. It's unprecedented. Revolutionary. And dangerous, Tsunade cut in. Extremely dangerous. We have no idea what the implications are. What if the seal completes this process? What if Kurama develops a fully biological form? Then I would be vulnerable in ways I've never been before, Kurama said flatly. Tailed beasts can't truly die. We simply disperse and reform. But with a biological component, I could potentially be killed permanently. Or reproduced, Ayam whispered. The chamber went deathly silent. Naruto found his voice first. What did you just say? Ayam looked sick. The lifelink matrix. It includes reproductive synchronization. That's the component I was afraid to identify earlier. If Kurama develops biological functions based on Naruto's template, and if the seal continues evolving toward perfect partnership. She didn't finish, but she didn't need to. You're saying we could. Naruto couldn't even complete the thought. I'm saying the seal is creating the theoretical framework for it, Ayam said. Whether it's actually possible, whether it would even work, I have no idea. This is so far beyond established sealing theory that I'm working from pure speculation based on fragmentary ancient texts. Kurama's laugh was bitter and sharp. The Sage of Six Paths wanted humans and tailed beasts to be true partners. I suppose he never specified what kind of partnership that might become. Professor Kenji was frantically scribbling notes. This changes everything we know about Bijin nature. If a tailed beast can develop biological characteristics through partnership with a human, the implications for— Enough, Tsunade commanded. Everyone out. Now. We need to process this information and determine our next steps. Naruto, Kurama, we'll give you privacy to discuss this. Wait, Naruto protested. We need to know more. Can we stop the seal's evolution? Can we reverse it? Ayam met his eyes sadly. I don't know. This seal is self-modifying, responsive to your bond. As long as you and Kurama remain synchronized, it will continue adapting. To stop it, you would need to break our partnership, Kurama finished. Return to the old relationship of prisoner and jailer. Sever our connection. That's not an option, Naruto said immediately. Then the seal will continue evolving, Professor Kenji said. The question becomes, toward what endpoint? As the technique ended and the observer's consciousnesses withdrew, Naruto remained in his mindscape, sitting heavily on the smooth stone floor. Kurama approached, her massive form somehow less intimidating than it should have been. This is my fault, she said quietly. I pushed for deeper connection, for true partnership. I didn't realize the seal would interpret that so, literally. It's not your fault, Naruto replied. I wanted the same thing. I wanted you to be free, to be my partner rather than my prisoner. I just didn't expect this. None of us did. Kurama settled beside him, one of her tails curling protectively around his form. A gesture that felt natural despite everything. The question is, what do we do now? We keep going forward, Naruto said firmly. We don't break our bond. We don't go back to the old way. We figure this out together. Even knowing where it might lead, Naruto met her eyes. Especially knowing that. Kurama, you're not just the Nine Tails to me anymore. You're my friend. My partner. Whatever happens with the seal, that doesn't change. The great vixen was quiet for a long moment. You're either the bravest human I've ever met, or the most foolish. Probably both. A rumbling laugh. Definitely both. She sobered. But Naruto, we need to be realistic. If the seal continues evolving as they suggest, if I develop more biological characteristics, the other villages will see it as a threat or an opportunity. They'll want to replicate it with their own Jinchuriki or eliminate us, to prevent the disruption to the balance of power. Then we'll deal with that when it comes. And if the seal's evolution leads to the other possibility they mentioned, Naruto felt heat rise to his cheeks. We'd cross that bridge when we come to it. Very eloquent, Kit. I'm being serious. Look, I don't understand half of what they were talking about. Lifelink matrices and biological synchronization and all that technical stuff. But I know this, I trust you, and you trust me. Whatever the seal does, it's responding to our bond, right? So as long as our partnership is strong, we can handle whatever comes. Kurama's expression softened. You really believe that? I have to. Because the alternative is giving up on the best partnership I've ever had. For a moment either spoke. Then Kurama's tail tightened slightly around him, a gesture of comfort and connection. Then we move forward, she said. Together. But we do it carefully, intelligently. We research, we prepare, and we establish clear boundaries and communication. This seal may be evolving on its own, but we're not passive participants in our own fate. Agreed. Starting tomorrow, we work with IM and the others to understand every aspect of the seal. We contact the other Jinchuriki and see if they have any information. And we... Naruto hesitated. What? We start training differently. If we're going to be this connected, we need to learn how to function as a truly unified team. Separate when we need to be, together when it counts. Kurama considered this. Practical. I approve. But for tonight you should rest. The examination took more out of you than you realize. What about you? I don't sleep, Kit. I'm chakra-given form, remember? Chakra-given form that's developing biological characteristics, Naruto pointed out. Do you even know if you need sleep now? The question clearly caught Kurama off guard. I don't know. Then I guess we're both figuring things out as we go. As Naruto prepared to leave the mindscape, Kurama's voice stopped him one more time. Naruto? Thank you. For not rejecting me when you learned about all this. For not seeing me as a problem to be solved. You're not a problem, Kurama. Your family. The warmth that flooded through their connection told him more than words ever could how much that meant to her. When Naruto opened his eyes in the ceiling chamber, he found himself surrounded by concerned faces. Tsunade immediately began checking his vitals while Sakura monitored the medical equipment. Physically, he's fine, Sakura reported. Chakra levels actually seem more stable than before. The seal's integration is proceeding, I said, her expression troubled. What we observed in there? Lady Tsunade, we need to convene an emergency council. Already planned, Tsunade replied grimly. Tomorrow morning. For now, Naruto, you're to rest and report any unusual symptoms immediately. And I mean any, physical, mental, emotional, anything. I'm fine, Grandma Tsunade. Really? You're bonded to a tailed beast that's developing biological characteristics through an unprecedented seal evolution, Tsunade shot back. You are definitively not fine, you're extraordinary, and potentially in danger, and I'm not losing you because you're too stubborn to ask for help. The genuine worry in her voice softened Naruto's response. I'll be careful. I promise. As the others packed away equipment and discussed testing protocols, Kakashi pulled Naruto aside. How are you really holding up? His former sensei asked quietly. Honestly? I'm terrified, Naruto admitted. But I'm also excited? That sounds wrong, but Kurama and I have always worked best when we're completely in sync. If this seal makes that synchronization perfect, we could be stronger than ever. Strength isn't everything, Naruto. I know. But strength is what protects the people I love. And right now, I need to be strong enough to protect Kurama too. Kakashi's visible eye crinkled with what might have been a smile. You've grown up well, Naruto. Your parents would be proud. I hope so. As they left the sealing chamber and emerged into the late afternoon sunlight, Naruto felt the weight of what lay ahead. The seal would continue evolving. The village would need answers. The other villages would eventually learn what was happening. And somewhere in the midst of it all, he and Kurama would need to navigate their changing relationship and what it meant for both of them. But for now, walking through Konoha's familiar streets with the comforting warmth of Kurama's presence in his mind, Naruto felt something unexpected: hope. They'd faced impossible odds before and won. This would just be another challenge to overcome together. You're thinking loudly, Kurama observed. I can feel your determination. It's rather annoying. You love it. Debatable. But I'll tolerate it. That's basically love for you. Don't push your luck, kid. Naruto smiled as he headed home, ready to face whatever the next day would bring. Together, he and Kurama would write a new chapter in the history of Jinchuriki and tailed beasts. One built on partnership, trust, and the unshakable bond they'd forged through years of shared struggles. The seal might be evolving into something unprecedented, but so were they. And that, Naruto decided, was exactly how it should be. The emergency council convened at dawn in the Hokage's most secure conference room. Naruto sat between Kakashi and Sakura, facing a semicircle of Konoha's leadership, Tsunade at the center, flanked by the clan heads, ANBU commanders, and the sealing specialists who had witnessed yesterday's examination. Shikaku Nara, Shikamaru's father, and the village's chief strategist, spoke first. Let me make sure I understand the situation correctly. The seal binding the Nine Tails, Kurama, to Naruto has evolved into an unprecedented covenant matrix that is creating biological synchronization between a human and a tailed beast. This could potentially result in reproduction. The bluntness made several council members shift uncomfortably. That's the most extreme theoretical possibility. I clarified quickly. But yes, the seal's structure includes components that could, theoretically, enable that outcome. More immediately concerning is the life link aspect. Naruto and Kurama's biological and chakra systems are becoming increasingly intertwined. Hayashi Hyuga, head of the Hyuga clan, leaned forward. What are the security implications? If Naruto is compromised, does that compromise the Nine Tails? And vice versa? We don't know, Professor Kenji admitted. This level of integration has never occurred before. In theory, the life link should make them more resilient. Damage to one could be healed by drawing on the other's vitality. But it could also mean vulnerabilities we haven't identified. The other villages will want answers, said Inoichi Yamanaka, head of the intelligence division. We've already received inquiries from Suna and Kumo about unusual chakra readings detected 3 days ago. They know something significant occurred. Tsunade drummed her fingers on the table. We need to control this narrative before it controls us. Suggestions? Full transparency with our allies, Shikaka said immediately. Suna especially. Gaara deserves to know what's happening with a fellow Jinchuriki. Selective information to neutral villages. complete blackout to potential hostiles. I should be the one to tell Gaara, Naruto interjected. And Killer Bee. They're not just fellow Jinchuriki, they're friends. They have a right to hear this from me directly. Agreed, Tsunade said. We'll arrange secure communications. But Naruto, you need to understand, once this information spreads, you'll become an even bigger target than you already are. There will be those who want to study you, replicate your bond with Kurama, or eliminate you to prevent this from spreading to other Jinchuriki. Let them try, Naruto said flatly, and felt Kurama's approval through their connection. That's my kit, she purred mentally. Suminazuka, the Inuzuka clan head, cleared her throat. I have a potentially indelicate question. If the Ninetales, Kurama, is developing biological characteristics, what does that mean for her presence in Naruto's seal? Could she potentially manifest externally? The room went silent. I hadn't considered that, Professor Kenji said slowly. But theoretically, if the corporeal manifestation matrix completes, Kurama might be able to take physical form outside the seal while maintaining her connection to Naruto. It would be similar to how summoning animals can be reverse summoned, except permanent. That could be strategically advantageous, Shikaka mused. Two powerful entities operating independently but in perfect coordination. Or it could destabilize the seal entirely. I am countered. The 8-trigram seal, even in its evolved form, was designed to contain the Ninetales chakra within a host. If Kurama manifests externally, the seal's structural integrity might collapse. Would that kill Naruto? Sakura asked sharply. Unknown. With a normal seal, absolutely. But this covenant seal, it might adapt. Or it might catastrophically fail. We simply don't have enough data. Naruto felt Kurama stir in the back of his mind. They're discussing us like we're an experiment. They're trying to help, Naruto thought back. And they're scared. We all are, I know. But I don't appreciate being treated as a variable in someone's calculation. Kurama wants to speak, Naruto announced aloud. The council members exchanged glances. The Ninetales wishes to address us? Hi, she asked, surprise evident in his usually controlled voice. Yes. And her name is Kurama, Naruto said firmly. If we're going to discuss her future, she deserves to participate. Tsunade nodded slowly. Very well. How do we facilitate this? I can relay her words, Naruto offered. Or... He hesitated, feeling a strange pull from the seal. I think there might be another way. Give me a second. He closed his eyes, reaching inward to where Kurama's presence burned bright. The connection between them had strengthened overnight, and now he could feel something new, a pathway he hadn't noticed before. Kurama, can you push forward? Like you're trying to speak through me? I can try. This is highly unusual, Kit. Everything about us is unusual. A fair point. Kurama's consciousness surged along their connection, and Naruto felt his own awareness step back slightly, making room. It was disorienting, like being a passenger in his own body, but not frightening. He trusted Kurama completely. When he opened his eyes again, the council members gasped. His eyes had taken on a distinctive red glow with slitted pupils. Kurama's eyes. Better, Kurama said through Naruto's mouth, her deeper voice overlaying his own in an eerie dual-tone effect. Now we can discuss this situation properly. Shikaku recovered first. Kurama-sama, thank you for joining us. May I ask, is Naruto still present? I'm here, Naruto's normal voice assured them, the red glow flickering slightly. This is weird, but manageable. This is a further sign of their integration. I am breathed, scribbling notes, furiously. Shared consciousness expression through a single body. Extraordinary. Focus, Tsunade commanded. Kurama, we need your perspective on the seal's evolution. You have experience spanning centuries. Have you ever encountered anything similar? The dual voice spoke again, Kurama's consciousness clearly in control. Nothing identical, but there are precedents. The Sage of Six Paths spoke of perfect synchronization as the ideal state between humans and tailed beasts. He believed we were meant to be true partners, not weapons or prisoners. What's happening with Naruto and myself may be the first successful manifestation of the Sage's original vision, but the biological aspects, Inoichi pressed. The reproductive potential. Did the Sage intend that? Kurama was silent for a moment. I don't know. The sage gave us life and consciousness, but he never specified the limits of what we could become through partnership. Perhaps he intended for us to discover that ourselves. Or perhaps he never imagined it would go this far, Hayashi suggested. The sage was the most powerful individual to ever live, Kurama countered. He imagined everything. If he didn't explicitly prevent this possibility, he may have deliberately left it open. For what purpose? Some asked. Evolution. Growth. True integration between humanity and the natural chakra of the world. Kurama's voice carried a weight of ancient contemplation. We tailed beasts are nature chakra given form and will by the sage. Humans are flesh given power through chakra. Perhaps the sage wanted to see what would happen when the two became truly one. Professor Kenji was practically vibrating with excitement. That would align with certain philosophical texts about the sage's teachings. He spoke of unity, of transcending the boundaries between different forms of existence. This is all very profound, Shikaka interjected, but we need practical considerations. Kurama, if the seal continues evolving, what outcomes do you foresee? Naruto felt Kurama considering carefully before responding. Several possibilities. First, the seal could stabilize at its current state. Life link established, consciousness sharing enabled, but no further biological integration. Second, I could develop the ability to manifest externally while maintaining the bond, creating a dual presence situation. Third, the biological integration could complete, giving me a fully functional physical form linked to Naruto's existence. And the fourth possibility? Tsunade asked quietly. Complete merger. Naruto and I become a single entity, not human, not tailed beast, but something new. The perfect unity the sage envisioned. The room erupted in shocked murmurs. That's unacceptable, Hayashi stated firmly. Naruto is a valuable shinobi and member of this village. We cannot allow his individual existence to be subsumed. I didn't say I wanted it, Kurama shot back, Naruto's eyes flaring brighter. I'm simply stating what the seal's current trajectory suggests as possible outcomes. Personally, I value both my own identity and Naruto's far too much to desire complete merger. Agreed, Naruto's voice added. We're partners, not, whatever that would make us. Then we need to guide the seal's evolution, Ayam said urgently. If we can influence its development, we might be able to steer toward a stable outcome that preserves both your identities while maintaining the benefits of your enhanced bond. How? Sakura asked. Intent, Professor Kenji said suddenly. The seal is responding to Naruto and Kurama's relationship. If they consciously define the parameters of their partnership, establish clear boundaries and intentions, the seal should adapt accordingly. You're suggesting we negotiate with a seal formula? Shikaka asked skeptically. I'm suggesting that this particular seal is responsive to the will of those it binds, the professor corrected. It's not a static barrier, it's a living contract. Contracts can be refined and clarified. Ayam nodded eagerly. Yes. The ancient Uzumaki texts mention that covenant seals could be written through meditation and mutual agreement between partners. If Naruto and Kurama enter their mindscape together, and consciously establish the terms of their bond, the seal should reshape itself to reflect those terms. That sounds almost too simple, Tsunade said warily. Simple in concept, complex in execution, Ayam admitted. They would need absolute clarity about what they want their partnership to be. Any ambiguity, any conflicting desires, could cause the seal to become unstable. Through their shared consciousness, Naruto felt Kurama's concern. Kit, are we ready for that level of commitment? To define our partnership in such permanent terms, do we have a choice? Naruto thought back. If we don't shape this, it'll shape us. Wise words. You're learning. The dual voice spoke again. Naruto and I will do it. We'll enter the mindscape and consciously refine the seal's parameters. When? Tsunade demanded. Tonight, Naruto's voice answered. We need time to think about what we want this partnership to be. To really understand it ourselves before we can make it permanent. You'll have supervision, Tsunade insisted. I am, Professor Kenji, and myself. If something goes wrong during the process, we need to be able to intervene. Acceptable, Kurama agreed. Then the red glow faded from Naruto's eyes, and he slumped slightly as his own consciousness fully returned to the forefront. Whoa! That was intense. How do you feel? Sakura asked immediately, medical instincts activating, like I just ran a marathon inside my own head. But okay. Kurama? Exhausted, came the mental reply. That level of consciousness sharing takes more energy than I anticipated. We'll need to practice if we want to use it regularly. She's tired too, Naruto reported. Apparently, dual consciousness is hard work. Yet another sign of increasing integration, I am noted. A pure chakra construct shouldn't experience exhaustion, but if Kurama is developing biological characteristics, she needs rest like I do, Naruto finished. Great. One more thing to worry about. Shikaka cleared his throat. Before we adjourn, we need to address the political situation. Naruto, you mentioned wanting to contact the other Jinchuriki directly. I recommend we do this within the next 24 hours, before rumors spread. We'll arrange secure communications with Suna and Kumo. What about the other villages? Inoichi asked. We monitor and assess, Tsunade decided. If they approach us directly, we provide carefully edited information. Yes, Naruto's seal has evolved. Yes, his bond with Kurama has strengthened. No, we don't know all the implications yet. Nothing about the biological integration or reproduction possibility. That won't stay secret forever, some warned. No, Tsunade agreed. But we buy time to understand the situation ourselves before others try to weaponize or exploit it. As the council adjourned, clan heads filing out with troubled expressions, Naruto remained seated, feeling the weight of what lay ahead. Tonight, he and Kurama would essentially write the terms of their partnership into permanent existence. The thought was both terrifying and oddly comforting. Nervous, Kit? Completely. I've existed for over 1,000 years. I've been imprisoned, weaponized, split apart, and reconstituted. This is still the scariest thing I've ever faced. Because it's permanent, because it matters. You matter. Our partnership matters. Getting this wrong could destroy everything we've built. Naruto felt warmth spread through his chest. Then we won't get it wrong. We'll figure it out together, like we always do. Your optimism is infuriating. You love it. Perhaps. That afternoon, Naruto sat in Ichiraku Ramen, mechanically eating his usual miso ramen while his mind churned with thoughts. I am the waitress, not to be confused with I am Uzumaki the sealing expert, noticed his distraction. Rough day, Naruto-kun? She asked kindly. You could say that. Just a lot of big decisions to make. Well, you've never been one to back down from a challenge. She smiled and refilled his tea. Whatever it is, I'm sure you'll figure it out. If only it were that simple, Naruto thought. How did you explain to someone that you needed to define the parameters of your partnership with a tailed beast to prevent accidental biological merger or unexpected reproduction? You don't, Kurama observed dryly. You smile, nod, and keep your existential crisis internal like a normal person. When have I ever been normal? Fair point. Naruto! A familiar voice called out. He turned to see Sakura approaching, accompanied by Ino and Hinata. The three kunoichi settled onto stools beside him. Shouldn't you be resting? Sakura asked, eyeing him critically. I'm fine. Just needed some thinking space. Well, you're not thinking alone, Ino declared. We heard about the council meeting. The whole village is buzzing with rumors. What kind of rumors? Naruto asked warily. Everything from Naruto's seal is failing to the Nine Tails is taking over his body, Hinata said softly. People are worried, Naruto sighed. The seal isn't failing. And Kurama isn't taking over. We're just adjusting to some changes. Changes like sharing consciousness? Sakura asked pointedly. Naruto, what happened in that council meeting was incredible and terrifying. You let the Nine Tails, Kurama, speak through your body. It was consensual and controlled, Naruto defended. She didn't take over. We shared space. There's a difference. Is there? Ino challenged. Because from where I'm sitting, the line between Naruto and Kurama is getting really blurry. The words hit harder than Naruto expected. That's what tonight is about, he admitted quietly. We're going to establish clear boundaries, define what our partnership is and isn't, make sure we don't lose ourselves. Hinata reached over and gently touched his hand. Naruto-kun, we're not criticizing. We're worried about you. This is unprecedented territory, and you're navigating it without a map. I have Kurama, Naruto said. We're navigating together, but who's looking out for you specifically? Sakura pressed. Kurama is part of this equation. She has her own interests and perspectives. Who's making sure that in this partnership, Naruto Uzumaki doesn't get lost? The question struck a chord. Naruto had been so focused on making sure Kurama was treated fairly, on honoring their partnership, that he hadn't really considered his own needs separately. She makes a good point, Kurama observed, surprising him. You've been so concerned about preserving our bond that you haven't thought about preserving yourself. Aren't they the same thing? Not entirely. Kit, listen to your friends. You need people in your corner who see you as an individual, not just as my partner. The fact that Kurama was encouraging this made Naruto's throat tighten with emotion. Okay, he said aloud. You're right. I've been so focused on we that I forgot about me. So what do you want? Ino asked directly. Forget about Kurama. Forget about the seal. Forget about village security. What does Naruto Uzumaki want from this partnership? Naruto considered carefully. I want to stay myself. To keep my dreams, my relationships, my identity. I want Kurama to have the same, her freedom, her dignity, her own existence. And I want us to be partners who make each other stronger without losing who we are individually. That's a good start, Sakura said, her expression softening. Make sure you tell the seal that tonight. Tell Kurama that too, Hinata added. Partnership means both beings, get to stay themselves. Your friends are wise, Kit. Listen to them. I am. Are you listening too? Yes. And they're right. Tonight, when we refine the seal, we need to be clear, partnership, not merger. Unity, not absorption. We preserve each other's identities while strengthening our bond. Agreed. As conversation shifted to lighter topics, village gossip, training updates, speculation about the upcoming Chunin exams, Naruto felt some of the weight lift from his shoulders. He had friends who cared about him specifically, who would make sure he didn't lose himself even as his bond with Kurama deepened. That was more valuable than any seal matrix or chakra technique. As evening approached, Naruto returned to the hospital's sealing chamber. Tsunade, I.M., and Professor Kenji were already there, preparing the observation arrays. Ready? Tsunade asked as Naruto settled into the center of the seal. As I'll ever be. Kurama? Ready. Nervous, but ready. One thing before we begin, Professor Kenji said. Remember that this process is about conscious intention, not wishful thinking. The seal will respond to your true desires and beliefs about the partnership, not what you think you should want. Be honest with yourselves and each other. Brutal honesty, Kurama's dual voice said as the red glow returned to Naruto's eyes. Understood. Then let's begin, I.M. said, activating the observation technique. Naruto, Kurama, enter your mindscape together. We'll monitor from outside but won't interfere unless absolutely necessary. Naruto closed his eyes and sank into meditation. The mindscape materialized around him, but this time Kurama was already there, waiting in her massive vixen form. So, she said, her 9 tails swaying. We define our partnership. Where do we begin? Naruto approached her, no longer intimidated by her size. By being honest. What do you want from this bond, Kurama? Really want? The great vixen was quiet for a long moment. I want freedom. True freedom, not just physical liberation from a cage, but the freedom to choose my own path, make my own decisions. I want respect, dignity, recognition as a thinking, feeling being rather than a weapon or a monster. You have all of that, Naruto said. I want to keep it, Kurama continued. Even as we grow closer, even as the seal integrates us further, I want to remain Kurama. Not Naruto's 9 tails or the Bija sealed in Naruto, but Kurama, individual, autonomous, myself. What about partnership? Naruto asked. You want independence, but you also chose to be my partner. How do we balance those? Kurama's tails coiled thoughtfully. Partnership isn't ownership or absorption. It's like a dance. 2 separate beings moving in harmony, each maintaining their own steps while creating something beautiful together. I want us to be able to act independently when needed but unite perfectly when called upon. So we're individuals who can become one when necessary. But always return to being individuals after? Yes. Exactly that. Kurama seemed relieved that he understood. What about you, Kit? What do you want? Naruto sat down, gathering his thoughts. I want you as my partner, my equal partner. Not my subordinate, not my possession. I want to protect you like you protect me. I want us to trust each other completely. We already have that. But I also want... Naruto hesitated. I want to keep being Naruto. To have relationships outside our bond, to pursue my dreams of being Hokage, to love and be loved by others without you feeling threatened or secondary. I would never begrudge you that, Kurama said, sounding almost offended. And I want you to have the same. Naruto said quickly. If the seal gives you the ability to manifest externally, to have a life beyond our bond, I want you to take it, to form your own relationships, pursue your own interests. I don't want to be your whole world, Kurama. That's too much pressure on both of us. The vixen blinked, clearly not having considered this angle. You want me to have independence even from you? I want you to have the choice. If you want to spend time with the other-tailed beasts, or explore the world, or do whatever makes you happy, you should be able to. Our partnership shouldn't be a prison, even a comfortable one. Kurama was silent, her expression unreadable. Then, slowly, one of her tails reached out and wrapped gently around Naruto. You never cease to surprise me, Kit. Most humans would want to keep their bijou under control, dependent on them. But you're actively encouraging my independence, because I trust you. And because real partnership means wanting the best for each other, not just what's convenient for ourselves. Then we're in agreement, Kurama said. We remain individuals with our own lives, dreams, and relationships. But when needed, we unite perfectly, one mind, one purpose, unstoppable together. What about the biological stuff? Naruto asked, unable to avoid the elephant in the mindscape. The lifelink, the potential for reproduction? Kurama's laugh was embarrassed and sharp. That is a conversation we'll need to have at some point, but not tonight. For now, let's establish that any biological integration remains under our conscious control. The seal doesn't make decisions for us, we guide it. Agreed. So our boundaries are, maintain individual identities, support each other's independence, unite when necessary, and conscious control over all seal functions, including the reproductive potential, Kurama added firmly. Especially that, Naruto agreed, blushing. Around them, the seal began to glow. The covenant matrix, visible now as a swirling mandala of light between them, shifted and reorganized, responding to their stated intentions. Ayam's voice echoed from outside the mindscape. The seal is responding. It's restructuring based on your agreement. Keep focusing on your intentions. Be specific about the boundaries you want established. Naruto and Kurama locked eyes, and together they spoke aloud, their voices harmonizing. We are partners by choice, not necessity. Individuals united in purpose. We preserve our separate identities while honoring our bond. We act independently when alone, perfectly unified when together. We control the seal. It does not control us. Our biological integration serves our partnership but does not define it. We choose our own paths while walking them together. The seal flared brilliantly, patterns rearranging themselves into new configurations. Naruto felt the changes rippling through his body, the lifelink stabilizing, the consciousness sharing clarifying into distinct channels they could open or close at will, the biological synchronization establishing boundaries that would prevent unwanted merging. And something else, a new pathway forming, one that would allow Kurama to manifest externally while maintaining their bond. The corporeal manifestation matrix completing, but under their conscious control. It's working, Kurama breathed. The seal is stabilizing. The light gradually faded, leaving the seal visibly changed. It was more complex than before, with clear divisions between different functions, lifelink, consciousness sharing, chakra synchronization, biological integration, external manifestation. Each section distinct yet connected, like chambers of a heart working together while maintaining separate purposes. We did it, Naruto said, awe in his voice. We actually redefined the seal. We defined our partnership, Kurama corrected. The seal simply reflects that truth. As Naruto prepared to exit the mindscape, Kurama's voice stopped him one last time. Naruto? Thank you for seeing me as an individual, not just as part of your power. For wanting my happiness as much as your own. That's what partners do, Kurama. We look out for each other. Indeed. Now go reassure your medical team that we haven't accidentally merged into some eldritch horror. Naruto laughed as the mindscape dissolved and he returned to consciousness in the sealing chamber. The monitor showed stable readings across all metrics. The seal's structure, when examined through the observation technique, was fundamentally changed but clearly organized and balanced. Extraordinary, Professor Kenji murmured, studying the data. You've essentially rewritten the seal's operating parameters through pure intention and mutual agreement. The Covenant Matrix accepted your terms and restructured itself accordingly. So it's stable? Tsunade demanded. More than stable, it's optimized. Look at these readings. I am pointed to specific patterns. The life link is strong but bounded. The consciousness sharing has clear channels that can be consciously opened or closed. The biological integration is present but controlled. And this section here, external manifestation capability, Professor Kenji finished. Kurama could potentially manifest a physical form outside the seal while maintaining the bond with Naruto, but it requires conscious activation from both partners. It's not an automatic process. Tsunade studied Naruto carefully. How do you feel? Good. Really good, actually. Clearer than I have in days. Like everything that was churning and uncertain has settled into place. Kurama? The red glow returned briefly to Naruto's eyes. Satisfied. We established terms we can both live with, indefinitely if necessary. The partnership is defined, boundaries are clear, and we maintain our individual selves. Then I'd call this experiment a success, Tsunade said, relief evident in her voice. We'll continue monitoring, of course. But if the seal remains stable like this, we can report positive results to the other villages. As the observation equipment was packed away and the specialists discussed their findings, Sakura pulled Naruto aside. You did it, she said, smiling. You and Kurama found your balance. We did. Though I think this is just the beginning. We've defined what we are to each other, but we still need to figure out how to live it day to day. One step at a time, Sakura advised. That's all any partnership can do, figure it out as you go. As Naruto left the hospital and walked through Konoha's quiet evening streets, he felt fundamentally changed yet completely himself. The bond with Kurama was stronger than ever, but so was his sense of individual identity. They were partners, true partners, and that was exactly what they both needed. Good work today, Kit, Kurama's voice resonated warmly in his mind. We make a good team, the best. Now get some rest. Tomorrow we start learning how to actually use all these new seal functions we just established. Can't wait. Liar. You're terrified. Completely. But I'm excited too. Kurama's laugh echoed through their connection. That's my Naruto, never letting fear stop him from charging forward. It's simultaneously your greatest strength and most infuriating quality. Love you too, Kurama. A pause, then warmth flooded their bond. Yes. I suppose that's accurate. I do love you, Kit. As a partner, as a friend, as family. Same here. Now let me sleep before I get all emotional and embarrassing. Agreed. Rest well, Naruto. As sleep claimed him, Naruto Uzumaki smiled, secure in the knowledge that whatever challenges lay ahead, he and Kurama would face them together, as individuals, as partners, and as the unstoppable team they'd chosen to become. The morning sun cast long shadows across the Hokage's office as Tsunade reviewed the reports that had flooded in overnight. The secure communication with Tsunagakure had been complicated. Gaara's response to learning about Naruto's seal evolution was a mix of fascination and concern. But more troubling was the reaction from Suna's council. Now, similar inquiries were coming from Kumogakure, Iwagakure, and even smaller villages. A knock at the door interrupted her thoughts. Enter, she called, already knowing who it would be. Shikaku Nara stepped in, followed by Inoichi and representatives from ANBU Intelligence. Their expressions told her the news wasn't good. The situation is escalating faster than anticipated, Shikaku began without preamble, spreading a map across her desk. We've intercepted communications between IWA and Kumo. They're discussing the Konoha anomaly, their term for Naruto's seal evolution. What are they saying specifically? Tsunade demanded. IWA views it as a potential military threat, Inoichi reported. They're arguing that if Konoha has discovered a way to achieve perfect Jinchuriki Bijou synchronization, it disrupts the balance of power. That Tsuchikage is apparently considering demanding an international inspection. Absolutely not, Tsunade said flatly. We will not subject Naruto to that kind of scrutiny. Kumo's response is different but equally concerning, Shikaka continued. They want to replicate it. Killer Bee is already perfectly synchronized with the Eight Tails, but they're interested in whether the biological integration aspects could apply to him as well. They want to weaponize it, Tsunade said grimly. Of course they do. That's what villages do with Jinchuriki. The bitter voice came from the doorway, where Naruto stood with Kakashi. Sorry for the interruption, but I figured this meeting was about me anyway. Naruto, Tsunade acknowledged. You should hear this. Come in. As Naruto and Kakashi joined the group, Tsunade continued. The point is, our attempt at controlled information release has failed. Within 24 hours of telling our allies, the information has spread to potential adversaries. Now we need to manage the fallout. What do the other Jinchuriki think? Naruto asked. Not their villages, them personally. Inoichi pulled out another report. Gaara is supportive but cautious. He understands what you're going through better than anyone. Killer Bee sent a message too, apparently in rap form, expressing interest in learning more but respecting your privacy. Despite the tension, Naruto smiled slightly. That sounds like Bee. The problem isn't the Jinchuriki, Shikaka said. It's their village's leadership. To them, you represent either a threat to be neutralized or a technique to be acquired. And there's a third faction emerging. What third faction? Kakashi asked sharply. Those who view the biological integration as unnatural and dangerous, Shikaku explained. We're hearing whispers from certain religious and traditionalist groups across multiple villages. They're calling it an abomination, a violation of the natural order between humans and tailed beasts. Naruto felt anger flare in his chest, matched by Kurama's fury in the back of his mind. Ignorant fools, Kurama snarled. They feared us as weapons, now they fear us as partners. Humans always find a reason to hate what they don't understand. There's something else, Inoichi said carefully, glancing at Naruto. Some of the intercepted communications mention breeding programs. The room fell silent. Breeding programs? Naruto repeated, his voice dangerously quiet. Certain elements in IWA and a rogue faction in Kiri are speculating that if a Jinchuriki and Bijou can achieve biological synchronization, there might be ways to create offspring with tailed beast characteristics. They see it as a potential pathway to creating super soldiers. Red chakra began to leak from Naruto's body as Kurama's rage mixed with his own. They want to turn what Kurama and I have into a breeding experiment. Calm down, Tsunade commanded, though her own expression was thunderous. We won't let that happen. But we need to be strategic about how we respond to these threats. Kakashi placed a hand on Naruto's shoulder, his chakra helping to suppress the leaking red aura. Naruto, getting angry is exactly what they want. It makes you look unstable, dangerous. We need to show strength and control. He's right, Kurama said, her mental voice still seething but more controlled. We proved them wrong by being exactly what we claimed, partners in perfect control of our bond, not slaves to it. Naruto took several deep breaths, pulling the chakra back. Okay. I'm calm. What's our strategy? Transparency combined with firm boundaries, Shikaka said. We invite select representatives from allied villages to observe you and Kurama's partnership in action. Demonstrate that you're stable, in control, and not a threat. But we make it absolutely clear that your bond is unique to you and Kurama. It's not a technique to be replicated or studied like a jutsu. What about the hostile villages? Kakashi asked. We warn them, Tsunade said bluntly. Any attempt to kidnap, harm, or experiment on Naruto will be treated as an act of war. We make our position unambiguous. That could trigger exactly the conflict we're trying to avoid, Inoichi warned. So could appearing weak or uncertain, Tsunade countered. Right now, everyone is testing our boundaries, seeing how we'll react. We need to establish a firm line immediately. I want to talk to the other Jinchuriki directly, Naruto said suddenly. Not through official channels, just us. Gaara, Killer Bee, and any others who are willing. We understand what it's like to be seen as weapons, as things to be controlled or feared. Maybe if we present a united front, the villages will back off. Shikaku considered this. A Jinchuriki coalition. Interesting. It could work, or it could make the villages even more paranoid. All their weapons communicating outside official oversight. Let them be paranoid, Naruto said firmly. We're not weapons. We're people bonded to the Bijou, and we deserve to support each other. I'll reach out to Gaara, Tsunade decided. He's the Kazekage now. He can facilitate official but discreet communication between Jinchuriki. But Naruto, you need to understand that this makes you even more of a target. You're not just Konoha's Jinchuriki anymore. You're potentially the leader of a movement. I didn't ask to be, Naruto said. But if it helps protect other Jinchuriki from being treated like breeding stock or weapons to be replicated, I'll do it. 3 days later, Naruto found himself in a secure meeting room deep beneath the Hokage Tower. The room was protected by multiple barrier seals, and A&B guards stood watch outside. Inside, holographic projections powered by a combination of Yamanaka telepathy and sealing techniques showed 3 other figures. Gaara sat in Suna's council chamber, his expression calm but his eyes intense. Killer Bee lounged in what appeared to be Kumo's training facility, his signature sunglasses reflecting the projection light. And surprisingly, a young woman with long red hair appeared from Kirigakure. Naruto recognized her as one of the Jinchuriki he briefly encountered during the war. Thank you all for coming, Naruto began. I know this is unusual. Unusual is an understatement, fool, you fool. Killer Bee rapped. Bijou Bond evolution, causing revolution, seeking solution to the confusion. Despite the tension, Naruto smiled. I miss you too, Bee. How are you managing, Naruto? Gaara asked, his quiet voice carrying weight. The reports we received were concerning. I'm okay. Better than okay, actually. Kurama and I worked through the seal changes, established boundaries, and we're stable now. But apparently, that's making some people nervous. The red-haired woman, Naruto thought her name was Fu, spoke up. My village has been asking questions about whether I could achieve the same synchronization with Komi. They see it as a way to make me more effective, more controllable, you mean, Gaara said flatly. Suna's council had similar thoughts until I made it clear that wasn't happening. Kumo's all about that power gain, Bee added, his tone more serious beneath the rhyme. Want to see if Gyuki and I could do the same. But Edo says it ain't that plain. The Eight Tails doesn't think it's possible? Naruto asked. The projection flickered as Killer Bee's appearance changed slightly, his eyes taking on the ox-like characteristics of Gyuki. When he spoke, a deeper voice overlaid Bee's own. The synchronization you and Kurama achieved is unique to your circumstances, Gyuki rumbled. Your Uzumaki heritage, the sage's chakra, the specific nature of your seal, and most importantly, the depth of trust and equality in your partnership. It's not something that can be replicated through technique or forced evolution. Shikaku says something similar, Gaara added. Our bond is strong, but it's different from yours, Naruto. You and Kurama are partners in a way that transcends the normal Jinchuriki-Bijou relationship. Naruto felt Kurama stir in his mind. Ask them about the political pressure. How are their villages treating them since news spread? How are your villages handling this? Naruto asked aloud. Are you facing pressure? Constant scrutiny, Gaara admitted. Every interaction with Shikaku is now monitored, analyzed. They're looking for any sign of similar evolution. It's exhausting. Same here, Fu said quietly. I'm not even allowed to fully synchronize with Komi anymore without supervision. They're afraid I'll trigger some kind of transformation. That's exactly what we need to address, Naruto said, frustration evident. Our Bijou are partners, not tools. This paranoia, this attempt to control every aspect of our bonds, it needs to stop. Bold words, Gaara observed. But how do we make that happen? We're powerful, but we're also outnumbered by non-Jinchuriki shinobi who fear what they don't understand. They need to see us. Kurama's voice resonated through Naruto, strong enough that he suspected the other Bijou might hear it through their Jinchuriki. not as weapons or threats, but as thinking, feeling beings in partnership with humans. They need to understand what we truly are. Kurama's right, Naruto said. We need to change the narrative. Not through force or confrontation, but by demonstrating what real partnership looks like. How? Fu asked. Before Naruto could answer, the room's seals flared with warning. Kakashi appeared instantly, his Sharingan uncovered. We have a situation. A delegation from Iwagakure just arrived unannounced, demanding to speak with the Hokage about the Jinchuriki matter. And they brought their Jinchuriki with them. Naruto exchanged glances with the projections of the other Jinchuriki. Then I guess we're about to find out how serious this is getting. The meeting hall was tense with barely contained hostility. On one side sat Tsunade with Konoha's advisors and Naruto. On the other, the Tsuchika Jinoki floated in his characteristic seated position, flanked by his granddaughter Kuratsuchi and a young man Naruto recognized as the Four Tails and Five Tails Jinchuriki, Rashi and Han. Thank you for seeing us on short notice, Inoki began, his aged voice carrying surprising strength. But the matter of your Jinchuriki's evolution requires immediate address. The Nine Tails Jinchuriki is stable and poses no threat, Tsunade replied coolly. I'm not sure what requires such urgent discussion. The threat isn't his current state, it's the precedent, Inoki countered. If Konoha has developed a technique to achieve perfect Bijou synchronization, complete with biological integration, that fundamentally alters the balance of power between villages. It's not a technique, Naruto said before Tsunade could respond. It's a natural evolution of my partnership with Kurama. It can't be replicated or forced. So you claim, Kuratsuchi interjected. But we have only your word on that. For all we know, Konoha has been developing this in secret for years. The arrogance, Kurama snarled in Naruto's mind. As if our bond is something their scientists could create in a laboratory. Then what do you propose? Tsunade asked, her patience clearly wearing thin. International oversight of our Jinchuriki? Restrictions on how Naruto and Kurama interact? We propose transparency, Inoki said. Allow neutral observers to study the seal, document the changes, verify that this is indeed a natural occurrence, and not a manufactured technique. Absolutely not, Naruto said flatly. Kurama is my partner, not a research subject. I won't subject her, or myself, to that kind of examination. Then you admit there's something to hide, Kuratsuchi accused. The red glow began to seep into Naruto's eyes as Kurama's patience snapped. When he spoke, it was in the dual voice that signaled her direct participation. You dare, the combined voices thundered, red chakra flickering around Naruto's form. For centuries, we tailed beasts have been imprisoned, weaponized, treated as mindless forces to be controlled. Now, finally, one of us achieves true partnership with a human, mutual respect, equality, freedom, and your response is to demand we submit to more examination, more control, more being treated as things rather than beings? The entire room fell silent, several of Iwa's representatives stepping back involuntarily from the force of Kurama's presence. Rashi, the Four Tails Jinchuriki, spoke for the first time. The Four Tails, Son Goku, wants to speak. Inoki looked like he wanted to object, but Rashi's eyes had already taken on the flame-like quality of his bijou. When he spoke again, Son Goku's voice overlay his own. Kurama speaks truth. For too long, we have been treated as weapons, as disasters to be contained. If she has found genuine partnership, it should be celebrated, not interrogated. Han stepped forward as well, his calm demeanor unchanged but his voice carrying the weight of the Five Tails. Koko agrees. We are not techniques to be studied or replicated. We are individuals, and our bonds with our Jinchuriki are our own. Inoki's expressions cycled through shock, anger, and finally, reluctant consideration. I see. The bijou themselves oppose our request. We oppose being treated as objects of study, Kurama clarified, the dual voice still present. If you wish to understand what has occurred, ask us. Speak with us as equals, not as subjects to be examined. We are not secrets to be uncovered. We are beings deserving of respect. The old Tsuchikage was silent for a long moment. Then, surprisingly, he bowed his head slightly. You are correct. I apologize. Old habits die hard, and I have spent too many years thinking of the bijou as forces of nature rather than as people. Then let this be a new beginning, Tsunade said, seizing the diplomatic opening. Not interrogations and examinations, but dialogue. The Bijou and their Jinchuriki deserve to have their voices heard. Agreed, Inoki said slowly. But that dialogue must include all villages, all Jinchuriki and Bijou. If we're to change how we approach this, it cannot be a decision made by Konoha alone. We're already working on that, Naruto said, the red glow fading from his eyes as he and Kurama released the dual voice state. A coalition of Jinchuriki and Bijou, speaking for ourselves rather than having our villages speak for us. That's radical, Kuratsuchi said, uncertainty in her voice. It's necessary, Han replied quietly. For too long, we have been defined by others. Perhaps it's time we defined ourselves. As the IWA delegation prepared to leave, Inoki paused at the door. Uzumaki Naruto. A word of advice from an old man who has seen many wars. Change this dramatic makes people afraid, and afraid people do dangerous things. Watch your back. I always do, Naruto replied. But I won't stop pushing for change just because it makes people uncomfortable. A slight smile crossed Tsuchiki's weathered face. Good. The world needs people like you. Just try not to get yourself killed in the process. After the IWA delegation departed, Tsunade slumped in her chair, looking every one of her actual years. That could have gone much worse, she admitted. Or much better, Kakashi countered. We've essentially agreed to a complete restructuring of how the villages relate to Jinchuriki and Bijou. The political implications are staggering, but necessary, Naruto insisted. Kurama and I proved that equal partnership is possible. Now we need to make sure other Jinchuriki have the chance to achieve the same. That's a noble goal, Shikaka said. But pragmatically, we've just painted a target on your back. Every village that fears change, every group that prefers the old system where Bijou were contained weapons, they'll see you as a threat. Then I'll deal with them, Naruto said simply. I've dealt with threats before. Our threats now come in the form of politics and fear rather than direct combat, Kurama observed. In some ways, that's more dangerous. But we're not alone, Naruto thought back. We have allies. The other Jinchuriki, the other Bijou. Even some of the village leaders like Gaara. True. Still, the old man from IWA was right, afraid people do dangerous things. We need to be prepared for someone to act rashly. As if summoned by the thought, an ANBU agent appeared in a swirl of leaves. Lady Hokage, we've intercepted intelligence from our spy network. There's a mercenary group being hired for an unspecified mission targeting Konoha. The client is unknown, but the payment is substantial. How substantial? Tsunade asked sharply. Enough to hire S-rank missing Nin. And the mission parameters specifically mention live capture of a Jinchuriki. The room's temperature seemed to drop. They're coming for Naruto, Kakashi said flatly, or trying to provoke a conflict by attacking him, Shikaka added. If Naruto is harmed or captured, it gives certain factions justification to demand international intervention. Then we don't let that happen, Tsunade decided. Naruto, effective immediately, you're under constant ANBU protection. No leaving the village without my explicit permission. No training alone in isolated areas. I can protect myself, Naruto protested. Against S-rank missing Nin hired specifically to counter your abilities? Maybe. But why take the risk? Tsunade fixed him with a stern look. You're not just Naruto anymore, you're a symbol. Your safety affects more than just you. She's right, Kit, Kurama said. We need to be smart about this. Naruto wanted to argue, but he could feel the genuine concern from everyone in the room. Fine. But I'm not hiding in the village like a prisoner. I have responsibilities, training, people I need to help. You can fulfill those responsibilities with protection, Tsunade compromised. Just no reckless solo missions or training marathons in the forest. As the meeting adjourned and security arrangements were made, Naruto found himself escorted back to his apartment by a team of ANBU. It felt claustrophobic, suffocating, exactly the kind of control he'd been fighting against. Easy, Kit, Kurama soothed. This is temporary. Just until the immediate threat passes. How long will that take? Unknown. But we've survived worse than paranoid villages and hired mercenaries. We'll survive this too. That night, as Naruto lay in bed surrounded by ANBU protection seals, He thought about how quickly things had changed. Just a week ago, his biggest concern was understanding Kurama's transformation. Now he was the center of an international controversy, the target of mercenaries, and the reluctant leader of a movement to change how Jinchuriki and Bijou were treated across all villages. "Do you regret it?" he asked Kurama. "Our bond evolving like this? All the complications it's caused?" "Never," came her immediate response. "The freedom, the partnership, the equality we've achieved, it's worth any complication. I spent centuries imprisoned and hated. A few political headaches are nothing compared to that, even if those headaches involve people trying to kidnap or study us, especially then. It means they take us seriously. We're not just a weapon they can ignore anymore. We're a force that demands recognition." Naruto smiled in the darkness. "When did you get so philosophical? I've had 1,000 years to think, Kit. You just haven't asked the right questions until now." "Well, here's a question. What do we do next?" "We keep pushing forward. We build the Jinchuriki coalition. We demonstrate that partnership between humans and Bijou is not just possible but beneficial. We show the world what we can be when we're not constrained by fear and tradition. That's a pretty tall order. Good thing we're up for it. Now sleep, Naruto. Tomorrow we start changing the world." As sleep claimed him, Naruto felt a sense of purpose settling over him like a warm blanket. The path ahead was dangerous, uncertain, and filled with people who would oppose them, but for the first time in his life, he wasn't just fighting for acceptance or recognition. He was fighting for something bigger. For every Jinchuriki who'd been treated as a weapon, for every Bijou who'd been imprisoned and feared, for the possibility of a world where humans and tailed beasts could be true partners. And with Kurama by his side, in his mind, in his heart, bound by choice rather than necessity, he believed they could actually pull it off. The village might be tense. Other nations might be afraid. Mercenaries might be hunting him. But Naruto Uzumaki had faced worse odds and won. This time, he wouldn't just win for himself. He'd win for all of them. The morning arrived with unexpected visitors. Naruto was halfway through his breakfast when an ANBU agent appeared at his window. "Uzumaki-san, you have guests at the main gate. Gaara of the Sand and Killer Bee of the Cloud, along with their escorts. Lady Tsunade has cleared them for entry." Naruto nearly choked on his ramen. "They're here? Both of them? In person?" Apparently the holographic communication wasn't sufficient for what they wished to discuss. 20 minutes later, Naruto stood at Konoha's main gate as two very different processions entered. Gaara arrived with his usual understated escort, Temari, Kankuro, and a handful of Suna ANBU. Killer Bee, in contrast, rolled in with his typical flamboyance, accompanied by his brother the Raikage and a full complement of Kumo elite Jonin. "Naruto," Gaara greeted him with a slight nod, the ghost of a smile on his usually impassive face. "Thank you for receiving us." "Yo, my man Naruto, looking kinda pale though." "Be wrapped," throwing an arm around Naruto's shoulders. "All this political drama got you stressed." "No doubt." The Raikage, a mountain of muscle named stepped forward, his expression stern. "This isn't a social visit, Uzumaki. The situation with the Bijou is escalating beyond anyone's control. We need to discuss this properly, all of us together." "Agreed," came a voice from behind Naruto. Tsunade approached, flanked by Kakashi and Shikaku. "Which is why I've prepared a secure location for this discussion. Follow me." The secure facility was deep underground, protected by layers of barrier seals that would prevent any eavesdropping, both technological and sensory. The room itself was circular, with a large round table at its center. As everyone settled in, Naruto couldn't help but notice the significance: 3 Jinchuriki, 3 Bijou, and the leadership of 3 major villages, all gathering to discuss something that would have been unthinkable just months ago. "Before we begin," Gaara said quietly, "Shikaku wishes to speak." His eyes took on the wild, manic quality of the one-tail. When he spoke, Shikaku's grating voice overlay his own. "Finally! A proper gathering. Kurama, you old fox, what have you gotten us all into?" Naruto felt Kurama stir, amused despite the tension. The red glow filled his eyes as she took partial control. "Nothing you haven't secretly wished for yourself, you crazy Tanuki. Freedom. Recognition. Partnership instead of imprisonment. Killer Bee's transformation was more dramatic, his skin darkening as the Eight Tails' influence became visible. Gyuki here. And Kurama's right. This is what the Sage of Six Paths intended from the beginning. We should be working with humans, not trapped inside them like prisoners. The Raikage looked distinctly uncomfortable with his brother's transformation, but Tsunade seemed fascinated. So all three Bijou support this partnership evolution? We support being treated as individuals with agency, Kurama clarified through Naruto. Whether that partnership takes the form mine and Naruto's has, with biological integration and seal evolution, or remains more traditional like Gaara and Shikaku's bond, or the friendship Bee and Gyuki share. The point is choice, respect, equality. That's a beautiful sentiment, the Raikage said bluntly, but the practical reality is that the Bijou are weapons of war. They always have been. Pretending otherwise is naive. We are only weapons because you made us weapons, Shikaku snarled through Gaara. The sage created us as guardians, as concentrations of nature's chakra meant to maintain balance. Humans turned us into tools of destruction. Because you destroyed things, the Raikage countered. The tailed beasts rampaged, killed thousands, after being controlled, enslaved, or attacked, Gyuki interrupted through B. We defended ourselves. We responded to being hunted and imprisoned. How many of us attacked unprovoked versus how many were responding to human aggression? The question hung in the air, unanswerable and damning. Shikaku cleared his throat. Perhaps we should focus on the present rather than relitigating the past. The question now is, how do we move forward? The seal evolution between Naruto and Kurama has created a new paradigm. Other villages are afraid, suspicious, or opportunistic. We need a unified approach. Which is why we're here, Gaara said, his normal voice returning as Shikaku relinquished control. The Jinchuriki need to present a united front. We need to define our own relationship with our Bijou, not let our villages define it for us. You're talking about a political bloc, Tsunade observed. Jinchuriki operating semi-independently from village control. We're talking about basic autonomy, Naruto said firmly, Kurama's influence still evident in his eyes. Right now, we're treated as village assets. Our bonds with the Bijou are monitored, controlled, restricted. That needs to change. And you expect the villages to just give up control? The Raikage asked skeptically. The Bijou are the ultimate deterrent, the final defense. No Kage will willingly surrender that power. Then we take it, B said, his normal jovial demeanor replaced by surprising seriousness. Not through force, but through demonstration. We show that Jinchuriki with true partnerships are stronger, more stable, more valuable than those treated as weapons. That's a gamble, Shikaku warned. If you're wrong, or if even one Jinchuriki loses control, it validates every fear the villages have. We won't lose control, Gaara said with quiet certainty. Because we're not being controlled anymore. Shikaku and I have an understanding now. Mutual respect. He doesn't rage against the seal because the seal is no longer a prison, it's a partnership. Naruto felt a surge of hope. That's it exactly. When Kurama and I were just prisoner and jailer, we fought constantly. But as partners, we're stronger than either of us could be alone. Careful, Kit, Kurama warned mentally. Don't oversell this. Real partnership takes work, and not every Jinchuriki Bijou pair will achieve what we have. But they should have the chance to try, Naruto thought back. So what are you proposing specifically? Tsunade asked. A Jinchuriki summit? An international agreement on Bijou rights? Both, Gaara said. A formal gathering of all Jinchuriki and their Bijou, where we establish basic principles. Bijou are sentient beings deserving of respect. Jinchuriki have the right to develop their bonds without excessive oversight. And the seal between Jinchuriki and Bijou should be a partnership tool, not a prison. That's revolutionary, Shikaku said. You're essentially asking villages to surrender their monopoly on how Jinchuriki are treated. We're asking for basic dignity, Naruto corrected. And we're not asking anymore. We're telling you this is how it's going to be. The temperature in the room dropped as the Raikage chakra flared. You're telling me? You're a genin, barely a chunin, and you're dictating terms to a Kage? Before Naruto could respond, red chakra exploded from his body. Not wildly, not out of control, but with precise, overwhelming force. The Raikage was driven back in his chair as Kurama's full presence manifested. He speaks for both of us, Kurama's voice thundered through Naruto, deeper and more resonant than ever. And I am no genin. I am the nine-tailed fox, most powerful of the Bijou, and I have chosen Naruto Uzumaki as my partner. When he speaks on this matter, he speaks with my authority as well. Golden chakra mixed with the red, Naruto's own power interweaving with Kurama's in a display of perfect synchronization. The other Bijou responded, Shikaku and Gyuki's chakra flooding their respective Jinchuriki in solidarity. Tsunade was on her feet, ready to intervene, but Shikaku held up a hand. Wait. Let them make their point. We are not weapons, the three Bijou spoke in unison, their voices overlaying their Jinchurikis. We are not tools. We are not resources to be exploited. We are living beings, and we demand recognition as such. The age of imprisoning Bijou like animals is over. Either we move forward as partners, or we refuse to cooperate entirely. You're threatening to rampage? The Reikuge challenged, though he looked notably less certain than before. We're promising to cease cooperating, Gyuki clarified through B. No more lending our chakra for village defense. No more fighting in your wars. No more being your ultimate weapons. If you want our power, you accept us as partners. The room was silent except for the crackling of chakra. Then, unexpectedly, Temari laughed. It's about time, she said, drawing shocked looks from everyone. Seriously, we've been treating the most powerful sentient beings in existence like they're jutsu we can just deploy. Did anyone think that would work forever? Temari, Gaara started. No, she's right, Kankuro agreed. The whole system has been unsustainable. We just didn't have the guts to admit it. Slowly, the chakra manifestations faded. Naruto, Gaara, and B returned to their normal appearances, though the weight of what had just occurred hung heavy. So, Tsunade said finally, assuming we agreed to this paradigm shift, and I'm not saying we do, what does it look like practically? Autonomy, Naruto said immediately, Kurama's input clearly guiding his words. Jinchuriki get to decide how often they synchronize with their Bijou, under what circumstances they deploy their power, and how their seals are structured. No more force seal modifications or experimental procedures without consent. Privacy, Gaara added. Our conversations with our Bijou are private. No constant monitoring or surveillance. We report threats and instabilities, but our day-to-day partnership is our own. Recognition be finished. The Bijou are officially recognized as sentient partners, not sealed weapons. They get representation in discussions that affect them. That last one is impossible, the Reikuge said flatly. You expect us to give the Bijou voting rights in village councils? We expect you to consult us when making decisions that directly impact us, Gyuki clarified. Through our Jinchuriki if necessary. But yes, our voices should be heard. Shikaku was furiously taking notes. This would require international treaties, complete restructuring of Jinchuriki protocols across all villages, and convincing every Kage to surrender significant control over their strategic assets. Correct, Gaara said simply. It's ambitious, but necessary. And if the Kages refuse? Tsunade asked quietly. The three Jinchuriki exchanged glances. It was Naruto who answered, his voice steady and certain. Then we go to the other Jinchuriki directly. Fu, Yujuto, Utakata, all of them. We help them achieve the same synchronization we have, and eventually the villages won't have a choice because their Jinchuriki will simply refuse to operate under the old system. That's mutiny, the Reikuge growled. That's evolution, Naruto countered. The world is changing. The Bijou are done being prisoners. We can change with it, or we can get left behind. A long silence followed. Then Tsunade stood, her expression unreadable. I need to think about this. Consult with my advisors. But, she met Naruto's eyes. I will seriously consider it. If we can find a way to implement these changes while maintaining village security, I'm willing to try. That's all we ask, Gaara said. A genuine attempt to change the system. The Reikuge stood as well, his massive frame somehow seeming less intimidating than before. B, we need to talk. Privately. As the Reikuge and Killer Bee left the room, Naruto felt some of the tension drain away. Kurama's presence in his mind was warm with approval. Well done, Kit. You didn't back down. We didn't back down, Naruto corrected. This was as much you as me. True partnership in action. Later that evening, after the formal meetings concluded, Naruto found himself on the Hokage monument with Gaara and B. The three Jinchuriki sat in comfortable silence, watching the sun set over Konoha. You know this is just the beginning, Gaara said finally. Convincing three Kages is one thing. Getting international consensus is another entirely. Yeah, but we got them thinking, B said, his usual cheerfulness muted but present. That's the first step, don't you think? Making them question the old ways? Shikaka says the other Bijou are watching, Gaara continued. Word has spread among them about Kurama's transformation, about your partnership. They're hopeful. It's an emotion I don't think most of them have felt in centuries. Naruto felt a lump form in his throat. I never meant to start a revolution. I just wanted Kurama to be free. The best revolutions start that way, Gaara observed. One person refusing to accept the status quo, then others joining them. You guys really think we can pull this off? Naruto asked. Actually change how Jinchuriki and Bijou are treated across all villages? Gyuki thinks so, B said, his eyes taking on the ox-like quality of his Bijou. He says you and Kurama proved it's possible. Now we just have to make it universal. It won't be easy, Gaara warned. There will be resistance. Some villages built their entire military doctrine around weaponizing Bijou. Asking them to surrender, that is asking them to fundamentally reimagine their defense strategy. Then we show them the alternative is stronger, Naruto said firmly. A Jinchuriki and Bijou in true partnership is worth 10 Jinchuriki operating under the old system. Confident words, Kit. Can we back them up? We'll find a way. We always do. As the stars began to appear overhead, the three Jinchuriki continued their vigil. Each knew that the path ahead would be difficult, dangerous, and uncertain. But for the first time in the history of the shinobi world, the Jinchuriki were united in purpose, and their Bijou stood with them. Meanwhile, in the shadows of Konoha, other forces were moving. In a nondescript safe house on the village's outskirts, a cloaked figure received a report from an informant. The Jinchuriki are organizing. 3 of them met today with their village leadership. They're pushing for a complete restructuring of the Bijou system. Interesting, the figure said, their voice distorted by a voice-changing seal. And the village's response? Mixed. Konoha seems willing to consider it. The Reikage is resistant but not outright hostile. Sand is fully supportive. Then the time to act is now, before this coalition solidifies. The figure produced a scroll, unrolling it to reveal a complex seal formula. The client is paying handsomely for the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki. Alive, unspoiled, and ready for study. The security around him has increased significantly. Then we increase our approach accordingly. Assemble the team. We move in 3 days. As the informant left, the figure studied the seal formula with professional interest. The pattern was designed to suppress Bijou chakra completely, rendering a Jinchuriki helpless. Combined with the element of surprise and S-rank combat specialists, even Uzumaki Naruto could be captured. The client, a shadowy organization interested in replicating the seal evolution, would pay millions for a successful capture. And if the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki happened to die in the attempt, well, the Bijou would simply reform elsewhere eventually. Either way, this uppity movement to grant Bijou rights would end before it truly began. 3 days later, Naruto woke to the sound of alarms. Kit, we have company, Kurama warned urgently. Multiple hostile signatures surrounding the apartment. Powerful ones. Naruto was on his feet instantly, already forming hand seals. Umbu. We're under attack. The wall exploded inward before the words finished leaving his mouth. 3 figures burst through, all wearing masks, all radiating deadly intent. Naruto recognized the chakra signatures immediately, missing Nin, S-rank, and they were coordinating perfectly. Uzumaki Naruto, one of them said, voice cold and professional. You're coming with us. Resist, and we'll take you in pieces. Red chakra exploded from Naruto's body as Kurama's power flooded him. I'd like to see you try. The battle for Naruto's freedom, and the future of Jinchuriki rights, had begun. But as the first missing Nin lunged forward, their weapon crackling with seal-suppressing chakra, Naruto felt something he hadn't expected, confidence. Not arrogance, not recklessness, but the absolute certainty that came from perfect partnership. He wasn't alone. He would never be alone again. and that made all the difference. Together, Kurama's voice resonated through him. Together, Naruto agreed, and met the attack head-on. The revolution wouldn't be stopped by a few mercenaries. Not when it was built on the unshakable foundation of true partnership, mutual respect, and the determination to change a broken system. The shinobi world was about to learn what happened when you pushed the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki too far. And more importantly, what happened when that Jinchuriki had the full, willing support of the most powerful bijou in existence. The battle raged, but the outcome was never really in doubt. Because Naruto Uzumaki and Kurama the Nine-Tails weren't just strong, they were partners, and that made them unstoppable.